Hello and welcome to my new Guitar Nerdery video. In my former video I showed you some easy to learn and memorizable interval shapes on the guitar fretboard that will help you in future to analyze or to identify intervals on your guitar and to learn to think with your guitar. Today I'd like to show you a few more interval shapes, talking about octave shapes that will help you to extend, to bridge your knowledge on the whole fretboard. This will help you, for example, with the knowledge of the video before, to analyze complete chords and scales in an instant. For those of you who didn't watch my former episode number 116, here I strongly recommend to do this first. Just to remember, these were the 12 interval shapes I'm talking about. They make use of the low E string, the A string and the D string. Having learned these interval shapes makes it already possible for you to analyze scales. Let's have a look at the octave shape. Here we have the root A, the prime, and here's the octave A again, which is the octave, or you can call it the prime again. And every scale there is happens between those two notes. So all scales can be analyzed because you have all intervals that happen between the prime and the octave. There's one issue on the guitar. When we play a scale or a chord, on the guitar we easily span 2 or more octaves. So when I play this chord, for example, in A minor, with the knowledge of these 12 interval shapes, you can identify this note, and this note, but not these. But when you add to your interval collection 3 more octave shapes, you can use them as a sort of bridge to transpose those notes. You want to find out what they are, which interval they are, to transpose them 1 octave down, or sometimes even 2 octaves down, into the first octave where you know your way around. Let's first have a look on those interval shapes in the first octave. The prime, minor second, major third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth or diminished fifth, perfect fifth, augmented fifth or minor 6, major 6, minor 7th, major 7th, octave. If the root on the scale you want to analyze is on the low E string, these intervals will help you in an instant to see which intervals are in that scale. If the root of your scale is on the A string, you can do this. You can take all these interval shapes and move them to the A, D and G string, because the relation of these 3 strings is exactly the same as these 3 strings. They are tuned in fourth. Just to show you, here's the note D, and this is then the prime, minor second, major third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, fifth, minor 6, major 6, minor 7th, major 7th and octave. You see exactly the same interval shapes. You do not have to learn new stuff. But here already starts an issue. If the root of a chord you want to analyze is on the low E string, you have no interval shape memorized from the G string to the E string. So you need some help with that. I'm going to show you in a few how this help looks like, but I now have to address a major issue on the guitar, talking about the B string. As I said before, all strings are tuned in perfect fourth, except of the B string. From E to A, perfect fourth, A to D is perfect fourth, D to G is perfect fourth, but from G to B is a major third. And from the B to the E is again a perfect fourth. This different tuned string disturbs all symmetry on the guitar. Every time when you get to the B string or when you cross it, you get an offset in your shapes. Here the order of primes. I want to play all notes in the 5th fret to the B string. And you see here the prime is 5 frets, 5 frets, 5 frets. But here it's only 4 frets because we have the offset. All shapes that get to the B string or cross it have an offset then. From the B string to the E string, then it's okay. It's as known. Let's now have a look how this has an effect on those 12 interval shapes you have already memorized when we put them one string further on the D, the G and the B string. Then all intervals that use the B string have an offset. Here's the note G. So this is again, it looks like before, the prime, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, 5th, minor 6, and here the major 6. Now the minor 7th is not this note, this is also the major 6. So the minor 7th comes 1 fret further. And this looks like the major 7th before. That is very confusing. And this is here not an octave shape. This is a major 7th and the octave looks like this. And of course, if we use the same interval shapes and move them to the G, the B and the E string, that offset issue starts immediately. So we start with the prime here. It's only 4 frets, not 5. And what was earlier the major second is now the minor second. Major second, this looks like a major third, it's now a minor third. This looks like a perfect fourth, but it's now a major third. This is a perfect fourth. And so on, and so on. If you do this long enough, you can adapt to this. But this is not for starters. And here my help comes in. I'm going to show you now 3 more octave shapes that can help you to get away of that disturbing B string, to get your note you want to analyze into the area where you know your way around. Let's have a look on the note A and where we can find it in the 12 first frets of the guitar fretboard. Those A's that are connected with the blue line are primes. They are in the same register. This A here, 12 frets down. This A here, 5 frets down on the next string. Or this A on the A string, 5 frets down. Or this A here on the D string, 5 frets down. These are the same notes. But look at the A in the 14th fret on the G string. On the B string, you find the same A, only 4 frets down. And not 5 because of the offset. And this is again this A you find here. So the different tuned B string is a kind of border regarding the relation, one word, and these 2 strings, one word. And every time when we combine these words, we get the offset. But let's now take a look on the octave shapes, the topic of this video. All notes that are connected with yellow and green lines are octave shapes, but 2 versions. Those connected with a yellow line cross 1 string. So if this is an A, this is also an A. If this is a D, this is also a D. You know this shape already, but now we get in touch with the B string. If we want to put our octave shape here on the D string, on the note G. The note G is not here, that is an F sharp. Our note G is here. So it's actually a new shape. And the relation from the G string, which is from world 1, to the high E string, which belongs to word 2, is also with an offset. So that means the octave shape here on the low E string and the D string looks the same as that one on the A string and the G string. But the next two interval shapes for the octave have an offset of 1 fret. This is one more important octave shape for you. And now let's get to the notes connected with the green line. It's also an octave, and we also have that issue with the B string. The green line octave shape crosses 2 strings. The octave from the A on the low E string is here on the G string. So we cross 2 strings. And already now, if we move this octave shape that crosses 2 strings, if we move it 1 string up and put it on the A string and the B string, so this is a D, the D is not here. Here we get the offset. Now the shape looks like this. And the same is with the next version. From the G to the next G here is this. So this octave shape that crosses 2 strings and spans 3 frets spans only 2 frets when we put it on the A and the B string and on the G and the E string. If you learn these 3 more octave shapes, this one you know already, but that one with the offset, and the new one that crosses 2 strings, and the version with the offset, makes it 3 new octave shapes. Then you have the tool to analyze complete chords. I'm going to show you now with some examples how you can use them. Let's start with an A7 chord. A chord that uses all 6 strings. From the knowledge of my video before, if you have memorized all these interval shapes in 1 octave, you can see immediately that this is a perfect 5th, and this from the low E string to the D string is a minor 7th. And now we get started. This note here, I'm gonna use the green octave shape that crosses 2 strings and spans 3 frets here. If I put it this way, that the upper note is the note I want to find out, I can read actually this note because it's the octave. And then I see this is the major 3rd. I can also use the yellow octave shape and put it this way. I make again this note I want to find out, the higher note. And then I again see that this is the major 3rd. So I can use 2 ways. Let's see what this note is here on the B string. If I use the green octave shape, I'm in touch now with the B string, so I have to use this with the offset. I see that this is the perfect 5th. And the last note of the chord. Okay, the easiest way actually is you do not need these octave shapes. You just have to be aware that the notes on the E string are equal to the notes on the low E string. Only there are 2 octaves higher. So if this is an A, this is also an A. If this is a B, this is also a B. This is probably the easiest way, and you do not have to use octave shapes. But just for the fun, let's do it. I again use a green octave shape. And I see that I have the octave of A here, so the root. Let's take another chord, an A minor 7th. Again a chord where all strings are involved. With the knowledge you already have, you can immediately see root, perfect 5th, octave. And we have to find out the G, the B and the E string, what these notes are. So this note, I'm gonna use first a green octave shape. Put this note 1 octave down, and now it's in an area where I know what it is. It's a minor 3rd. I can also use the yellow octave shape, put it this way, and I see again it's the minor 3rd. Now this note here on the B string. I do not use a green octave shape because the octave down is too far away and not in my shape knowledge in the first octave. So I use the yellow octave shape, but that with the offset because I'm in touch with the B string. And then I see this is the minor 7th. And here we had it already. You can compare these two E strings. You see that this is also an A. Or you again can use the green octave shape and read that interval shape. Read that this is the octave, the root again. Let's now analyze a jazz kind of voicing. An A7 913. I do not play the A string here. The interval shapes you already know tell you that this is a minor 7th. Here we did it already with the A7th, but let's do it again. This note I want to find out. I use a green octave shape and I can read from it that this is a major 3rd. Or I can use a yellow octave shape, put it this way, and I again can read that this is the major 3rd. This note here on the B string offset, I use a green octave shape, put it here, and I see it's the major 6th. This note here on the high E string, it's the E string, so you find the same note on the low E string in the same fret. It's the major 2nd. Now let's analyze a chord voicing that has the root on the A string. It's a D minor 7/9. I do not play the low E string. We can move now our 12 interval shapes 1 string up, and when we do this we can immediately see that this is a minor 3rd and this is a minor 7th. The two notes left here, we have to find out what they are. For the note on the B string here, I use a green octave shape and I see it's the major 2nd. I can also use a yellow octave shape. Here I again see it's a major 2nd. The one note left here. I again use a green octave shape, and in an instant I can see that this is a perfect 5th. Now finally, let's analyze the scale, the A minor pentatonic. I already did this in my video before, but only the first octave. With the knowledge of the 12 interval shapes, we see in an instant that this is the prime, the minor third, the perfect fourth, the perfect fifth, minor seventh, and here's the octave. And now we get to the G string, and that we have to find out. This here, I use a green octave shape. I can see here now that this is the minor third. This note, I'm going to use a yellow octave shape. I see this is the perfect fourth. Here, again, a green octave shape, that one with an offset, because it's the B string. It's the perfect fifth. This note here, using a yellow octave shape with offset, minor seventh. Here we already know it's the root. We can use also an octave shape. We can bridge from here or put this one octave down with that green octave shape, and we see it's the octave. And this note here, we can see in an instant, of course, that this is the minor third because it's the E string, but with octave shapes we could also do this green octave shape and one more octave shape here, a yellow one, and then we land also on the minor third. But being aware of that all notes on the high E string are equal to the notes on the low E string, except there are 2 octaves higher. That's the best way, I think, to see it. This was it for today. 3 more shapes to learn and getting the knowledge of the whole fretboard. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the content. And if you not already have, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm looking very forward to see you next time.